This is Sunny. I just want to make this video again on this trade that I made on AXLA. I just was looking at my big percent gains to see what was trending or what would look like a potential opportunity for today. And as I was looking, I seen that AXLA had shares available to short, and that it was like at its pretty much the highest point on it for the day or near it. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, it's at its highest point for the day. I'm looking to short this. I think I looked at the indicators. I'm not sure. I most likely didn't. I didn't do my research on it, but it was up near high day. I was watching it around this point right here, and it pulled back, and I was looking for a hard crack, or actually it was like somewhere right here, and it kept uptrending, and then it pulled back, and I was looking for a hard crack, but I wasn't sure what to play off of. And I'm like, if I short now, it's just going to be a random entry. I need a sign that is telling me to go. I mean, I can go based off of time frame, which I'm kinda am. So I was trying to short it around the 1 o'clock area, but I needed a hard crack like Bertani does to see if it will start pulling back. So it started pulling back. I'm like, this is not hard enough crack. I think it can bounce up. But when it got to this point, I'm like, I think I missed it. It went without me. And where I was trading, a couple friends saw me and started talking to me. So I was like, oh, I missed it. It's okay. Let it go. And I got distracted, and I went to go talk to them. And by the time I came back, this happened. It consolidated, perked, I won't even say consolidated, but it held, perked up a little bit, was moving sideways, and pulled back, and then did this number here. When it did this number here where it spiked here, and it had this big wick, that could told me it was being dumped into, but it still went up even higher, or back to its highs. Then it started going sideways. I'm like, I don't think this can go any higher. It didn't give me a hard crack, although this pull, it was a nice pullback from the 38s to the 21s, but I was looking to short near the whole and half dollar marks because they're psychological areas. So once it was near the 143, I thought that would be the best it can go, especially after this spike right here. And it didn't go any further. And then after all these few minutes right here, I shorted. Now I stuck to my dollar amount, 5K, and I shorted right here, and I just waited. I had my stop limit order at higher day, and I make sure I corrected my stop limit order, looking at the stop and looking at the limit to make sure they're all correct, and that I'm shorting from 143, or I'm stopping, covering from 143 and higher. And I just gave it time. There's nothing that I did special here to make the stock. I didn't do anything to make the stock move in my direction. I did nothing special here. I did nothing significant. All I did was a simple shit, which is I looked for an entry. I understood how I was going to enter. I was going to enter at a random spot. I used psychology to enter. Also, the chart gave me a sign to enter because the spiking couldn't go any higher. And then after that, all I did was protect myself. So the number one thing is protecting. And I did that, protecting myself not just by it hitting a stop limit order, but by my entry of knowing, okay, there's a high odds that this is not going to go any higher. So then it started consolidating a little bit here, pulled back. When it had this hard crack right here, it wasn't really a hard crack, but it had this candlestick, and it came back down. And the flow, I mean the volume, I don't even remember what it is, but 150 mil, that's pretty high. But there wasn't much volume into this candlestick or into any of these candlesticks, but when it had this candle right here, I knew that was a good sign that it could continue fade. The only thing that's gonna make this stock pick back up is volume, high volume. So then it started fading, perked back up, but I knew, okay, I'm like, it don't matter if it came down here and literally went right back up, as long as it doesn't break my resistance points, I'm good. And then it started fading back, perked up again. I'm like, okay, it didn't pass this point, it didn't pass this point, so just chill. It's still holding above this low right here, but it's only a matter of time, just give it time. There's nothing I can do right now but just wait. And then it did a little sideways action, went under, panicked a little bit, just a little bit, under this point right here. And then I was like, okay, that's another good sign that it might go my way. But I really wanted to have it go under here, here, and here. Those were the points that I was really playing at. And I put an alert at all these 3 points, all these 4 points. And it started uptrending, pulled back a little bit, uptrending again, got to this point. And when I saw that it got to this point, somewhere around here, Mr. French on Wolf's Pack voice, he was like trading it. He was trading WE, and WE did a big uptrend. I'll show you WE real quick. And I commend him for this trade, but I think there's a flaw in his state of mind. He longed this at like VWAP at like 450 roughly, 440 something, and then he could tell from the indicators that he used on the charts, like RSI or whatever he uses. He could tell that volume was picking up and shorts were getting squeezed, and it kept uptrending to the point where it got to this high, and he was like, man, it's gonna keep going higher, and he was right about it, which was good. But his problem was he got upset in the voice, and I'll explain it soon, but he got upset because he felt like scalpers because he announced the trade, scalpers in the voice was copying his trades and scalping it, and then when it didn't go their way, they sold into it, making him lose money, and he got upset. And I'm like, that's the wrong state of mind, because it's like, bro, regardless if the scalpers did that or not, dog, you're in at 440s, 450s. You're up over $2 a share, and it's spiking. You're not selling into strength hoping that it holds. We're not in that kind of market right now. So whether they're scalping or not, I think you have a state of mind where it's like a bit poor, because you're not selling into strength. Like, there's no real idea of where to sell. Once you get past VWAP, high day, and pre-markets, once you get past those points, you don't know where to sell. There's no real indicator to sell. Plus, they did dilutions. They did a split, so they're pushing it back up. They're gonna dump shares. And he complained that every time he goes on voice, people are scalping his trades and making him lose money. And I'm like, I think that was just the wrong idea, and I disagree with him. I honestly don't agree with the way he trades, but it makes him money, so that's okay. But when he got upset, I was like, bro, you're tripping. Like, motherfucker, it's not their fault, it's your fault. And then I'm like, I would have been sold here, and then it's spiking at the highest volume point of the day, and you're refusing to sell, blaming scalpers for that? No. I understand if this was a better market, but no. Wrong market, kid. Like, it's not working. So then it pulled back, He was like, man, I'm gonna put a stop limit trail limit order in here, and then it started going down. He started getting upset, and then he's like, he was gonna focus on AXLA, and when he started talking about AXA, I got a little defensive because I'm like, you're saying that it's gonna perk up, but I'm in this trade and I'm shorting it, and I'm like, okay, you're talking against my trade, so of course I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna disagree because I'm in a short position and I'm putting not my money where my mouth is, even though this is paper trading. And because of what he was saying, it kind of tempted me to get out of my trade, but I'm like, no, I saw these indicators. I see what I'm seeing on the chart. I'm gonna trust my knowledge and my belief and my understanding of the markets versus your own opinion. So that's what I did, and somewhere right here, he was like, "This is gonna perk up," and he started getting in at 127. It started perking up, and then when it panicked back down here, he was like, or pulled back down here, he started blaming the chat. I'm just like, whatever, bro. You're just upset. And he's like, I was like, if you're gonna blame the chat, then why don't? And every time you get on voice, your trades go bad. Then don't get on voice and don't trade on voice. Like, what the fuck? It's not their fault. Like, no, I just didn't like it. It annoyed me. So then I'm like, I know this is gonna go my way because, well, I won't say I know, but the odds are high that it's gonna go my way. And the reason being is because just using chart indicators, factors, started going my way, and I covered here. When it broke all these 3 points, the lowest point I was looking for was 117 because of this candlestick right here, and then went past the 117 to 15, 6, 14, and then went to the 19. So I put it in at 110, and I patiently waited for it to execute, and I made $900. And he was like, scalpers are in, they're making my trade go wrong. I'm like, I know I'm not a scalper because I don't even trade like that. And on top of that, I was in way before you, shorting it. I was up, what, over 10 cents. Still didn't want to get out. Patiently waiting. My target goal was to see if this would break under, and then that's what I'm looking to sell, which was from 17 to 35, which is about 20 cents. I don't think scalpers go for 20 cents. I mean, this range was actually small to me as well. I made a 25 cent gain, which is almost 20% in total of my money, but I know I'm not scalping this trade. I don't trade like that. Scalpers don't make 20%, almost 20%. So it was a little annoying to hear him in the chat. I don't typically listen to him. I like Tony Tones, but he's not in the chat room talking that much, like doing the voice. French says some important things, but not to the degree where I feel like I can really benefit, because when he's talking, the way he talks, his state of mind is as if he's hyping the stock or getting excited. And I don't like trading like that. I try to trade with no emotions. Although I'm human, I'm emotional, but I regulate my emotions. The way he's talking, it's going up, look, 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 look. He says all that stuff, and it's like, come on, bro. That's the improper way to think. And then you're hyping up other traders because these guys are newbies. They probably don't know how to regulate their emotions. And then on top of that, you see a 5,000 share order go in. It's not that big. And he's like, look, it's having massive volume. And this candlestick had 57 volume. And he's like, this stock is having massive volume. It's about to go. It's like he's hyping up the stock. And I'm like, bro, just chill. But that's how I used to trade. But that was like year 1, 2, 3. After a while, I stopped getting so excited because it's the wrong way. And you're influencing yourself. And that's why on We, yeah, you're right that it went up so much, but I don't know, man. You got this big drawdown. You should have been selling. Okay, you're in the fours right here. You should have been selling. To be honest, you should start like looking to sell once you're up here, because if you're in the fours, you're up 40, 50%, 40, 50 cent, 60 cent. It hit almost $1 here. That's almost 60 cents. And it consolidates. You push up here. That's two spikes. You should be after holding VWAP. So you should be looking to sell into here. And then once it pulled back here, you should have been like, okay, I gotta either sell or reconsider this trade. And then the fact that it gave you extra and kept going up higher, like, yeah, your patience is great, but patience isn't always good in trading. But I mean, you don't really need to sell because you're up. You just let it ride. But at some point, you have to sell, bro. I mean, you're up $3,000, take it. But I don't know, man. I don't know what percentage you were up on, but I think you need to work on your excitement a little bit, because you're too excited. Reading these trading books and listening to these reading these psychology books and reading and learning from these psychology teachers, they're just like, you shouldn't be feeling any of that. The way you're talking, you're a bit excited. But that's why I feel like, honestly, like, I'm better than all these traders and I have more years under my belt, but I don't even care about the years under my belt. Can you perform, and can you perform to a good way? And yeah, he's making more money than me, but probably had a better start than me. And I don't know, bro, but I think his way of thinking is poor and he needs improvement. And don't blame other traders for your flaws. Blame you. You were up so much, and now you're upset because traders, possibly scalping on your trade. No, you know what the fuck the kind of game this is. Don't blame other people, but it just really annoyed me, because, and this is why I don't like getting in chat rooms. I always hated chat rooms. I always hated group settings since I was in elementary school, because these groups, I notice in groups, they always follow each other. And from the time I was in elementary school to the time I was running the streets, watch my neighborhood friends group up and follow each other. And even at one point I was a follower because I was nervous. But after I broke out of that nervousness, I was done. I'm not following you guys. I pulled away from the group. Back on 19th Ave, them boys was just grouping up. I pulled away. I was the first one to pull away out of all of them. And then everybody else followed. But yeah, this is why I don't get into chat rooms. But I feel like now, for now on, that confirms it when Mr. French is talking in the chat room. I don't think I'm gonna listen to it. If Tony Tones is in there, he said some real shit. I just missed it. But if Tony Tones is ever in there, I'll listen to it. But if it ain't Wolf or Tony, I don't want to hear none of that shit.